All right, so let's do this one together. So, if I want to find, how many zeros do I need to find in this one?
3.
3, because my degree is 3. So I got to find 3 zeros. Now, all 3 of them could be real. 1 of them could be real. 2 of them could be imaginary. Okay. Some of them could be repeated. Okay. So we could have maybe 2 answers because 1 of them is a repeat. Okay. So we've got options abounding here. We got to find them all. So to start for this one, what should we do first?
Find all possible zeros.
All possible zeros. Okay. So that means I need to find what are my factors of 8.
1, 2, 4, and 8.
Everybody agree with 1, 2, 4, and 8? Any other ones? Nope. Okay. Then I need to find my factors of 1. What's my factors of 1? Just 1, right? So my list of possible zeros is plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 8. Okay? Now what? Yeah, right. Kind of try one and see if we get an actual 0, right? Okay? So what number do you want to try first? -1? Okay? So if we try -1 first, we would have 1, -5, 2, and 8. Okay? Drop it like it's hot. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. It is a 0. Yes? Okay? So if -1 is a 0, what is the factor? X plus 1 is the factor. Okay? So f of x can now be written as x plus 1, there's my factor that produced the 0 of -1, times, this was cubed, so I drop it down 1, gives me x squared minus 6x plus 8. Can x squared minus 6x plus 8 be factored? To what? X minus 4, x minus 2? So then f of x can be written as x plus 1 times x minus 4 times x minus 2. What? It all works out. Yeah, so we get 3 real ones, right? So here's the one that we found, -1. Here is the next one, 4. Here is the third one, 2. So the 3 zeros for this function are -1, 2, and 4. Now, if you would have found 2 or 4 as your first 0 when we were synthetically dividing, your path would be a little different, but it would come back at the same spot at the very end. Okay? So, on Friday's test, this, let me go into purpley purple. That's purpley purple. So this right here could be one answer. Like we might say in the directions, find the list of possible zeros. That might be an answer. This right here might be an answer. Find the factored form. On Friday's quiz, lots of people solved when the directions say factor. Numerous people on the backside did that. I can't stress this enough in this unit. You've got to read the directions for each problem. because the directions are going to be different. And it depends on where you stop in that problem. Okay? Or we might have one where, like this one, where we had to solve and find out the result. Okay? Awesome sauce. All right, so you're going to try this one now. So I want you to do it all on this one. I want you to find me the list of possible zeros. I want you to find me the factored form. I want you to find the actual zeros. And I want you to, because it's going to be part of this unit and part of the test this week, I want you to write me out the end behavior too on this one. So you can do those in any order, but I want you to find the 1, 2, 3, 4 different answers all for that. Okay? Go. Okay? So, first I got to look at 2. What are the factors of 2? 1 and 2. Then I got to look at 1. What are the factors of 1? 1, right? So my list of possible zeros is going to be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2. Agree with that? Okay? Did somebody find one of those that worked?
1.
No, positive 1?
Yes.
Positive 1 works? Okay? All right, so let's go with 1 then. I've got negative 1, 0, 3, and negative 2. The kicker is that 0 placeholder for the x squared term. Okay? Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2, 2, 0. Okay? So f of x factors to be, if this is a 0, then what is the factor? X minus 1? And then that's going to be times negative x squared minus x plus 2. Can negative x squared minus x plus 2 be factored? Yeah? Micah, you factored it. What did you get it the factor to be?
Negative x plus 1, x plus 2.
Quick check here. In here we've got 1x. In here we've got negative 2x. Combined, those give me my negative x. These two multiply to give me my negative x squared. 1 times 2 multiplies to give me my positive 2. So that would be then my factored form of that. Now some of you gave it to me in a little different method, or a little different form. As I was walking around, I saw. So this is one of them that we would have accepted there. We would have also accepted if you would have, right from up here in the blue step, if you would have factored out a negative 1, because we always like positives on our squared term when we're factoring. So if you factor out a negative 1, then you would have x minus 1 still, but you'd have another x minus 1, and then you'd have an x plus 2. You could factor out a negative 1 just from that one right there. Okay? So that is my factored form. Okay? Then we could find all of our zeros. by setting our factored form equal to, or our factors equal to 0. So all of my zeros are, I've got 2 positive 1s, which I only need to write down once. Okay? Now, what do those zeros truly mean? If I were to sketch this graph, what do those zeros truly mean? It's where it crosses the x-axis, right? Okay. So since positive 1 was a double and negative 2 was 1, okay? So let's go back. Now this is thinking way back to the beginning part. It's got an odd degree, right? Does that mean that my function is going the same direction on both sides or opposite directions? Opposite direction. It's got a negative lead coefficient. That means the right side of my graph, is it going up or is it going down? It's going down, so it's going to look like this, right? Okay? So because the 1 is a double root, that means it is a, whoa, jumped on me. That means that it is, come on, a kiss oops, I missed, but that's okay, because it's just a sketch. So that means that my graph looks like that. So that means then that my end behavior, come on. So that means then, what is going on with this thing jumping today? So goofy today. My end behavior would be, as x is going to positive infinity, so I'm going to the right, my function is going to negative infinity. And as x is going to negative infinity, my function is going to positive infinity. Okay? So that is end behavior. That will be on your test this week. Did we answer all of our questions? We needed four things. We got 4 answers. Love it. Good times. All right. So today we are learning something brand new. Just when you think you have all of the answers and can do all of the stuff, got it all figured out, I go and I change the order of the question. Okay? So now today, what you're going to be given is you're going to be given the zeros. You're going to be given the solutions. You're going to be given the answers. And I'm going to ask you to come up with the function, okay? The polynomial function. Okay? So we started, up to this point in time, we just did 2 of them, in fact, where we started with a function and we worked our way down to the zeros. Okay? Now we're going to start on that bottom floor and we're going to work our way up to the penthouse. Okay? So, if negative 1 is a 0, oops, tap the brakes. Let me change, oh, come on, this is a big one. Here we go. So, if negative 1 is a 0, then what is the factor. If -1 is a 0, what is the factor? Mike? X minus 1? Plus 1? X plus 1 would be the factor. In your brain, you're thinking about, we just got to this step. That was our bottom step on the last slide. Now we got to go up. So if we go up one step, so this is the 0 step. We go up the ladder to the factor step, then that would be x plus 1 equals 0. So x plus 1 is the factor. If 2 is a 0, what is the factor?
X minus 2.
X minus 2 then becomes the factor. If 4 is the 0, what is the factor? If 4 is the 0, what is the factor? X minus 4 is the factor. So if we're working our way up this scale again, then from setting our factors equal to 0, we would have had the factored form of our equation, which in this case it would have been x plus 1 and x minus 2 and x minus 4. Minus. From our factored form, how do we get our polynomial? We distribute, we multiply it out, right? Okay? So f of x right now is equal to x plus 1. Actually, here, let me color code it. X plus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 4. How do I multiply that out? How do I distribute that out? What two colors do you want to multiply?
Green and purple.
Two at a time. Green and purple?
Green and purple.
Okay. So green, whoa, I don't know why it's jumping today. Just acting so goofy. So we'd have to distribute there and there. That would give us x squared minus 4x. We'd have to distribute here and here. That would give us negative 2x plus 8. All told, that gives us x squared minus 6x plus 8. But then that still has to be multiplied by x plus 1. So now we've got to do another distributive. It is minus 6x, isn't it? Did I do it wrong? So then we get x cubed minus 6x squared plus 8x. And then I got to distribute the 1. Gives me x squared minus 6x plus 8. And so then that gives us our function is x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. which should have been, since this was example number 1, our first warm-up. Because remember on our first warm-up, we had that as our function, and we got zeros of negative 1, 2, and 4. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications? All right, I think we got one more. Oh yeah, look at that one. Ruh-roh, what are we going to do with this one now? Exact same thing. It just gets a little more complicated. So again, if you need to write out your zeros and your factors, okay? So if my 0 is 4, what is my factor? X minus 4. If my 0 is 1 plus the square root of 5, what is my factor? It's going to start out with x, yes. But I gotta, so if I'm thinking back, if I go here, to go back up a step, I'd have to subtract 1 and subtract the square root of 5, right? So then this would be x minus 1 minus the square root of 5. My other factor is 1 minus the square root of 5. So here now I'd have to subtract 1, but add the square root of 5. So that would be x minus 1 plus the square root of 5. What do I do with those three then? What do I do with my factors? How do I combine it then? What operation do I use? What operation do I use to combine them? So I can multiply, right? Oops, color code. Green and purple first. Get the two ugly ones out of the way. So if I multiply by x, y, it didn't change over. If I multiply by x, I would have x squared minus x plus x square roots of 5. If I multiply by negative 1, then I have negative x plus 1 minus the square root of 5. And if I multiply by negative square root of 5, I would have negative x square root of 5. I have plus the square root of 5. and I have minus 5. Because I have square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is square root of 25, which is 5. Add all of those up, I get an x squared. I get minus 2x. Out of this column, what happens here? Cancels, goes away. Out of this column, I get minus 4. What happens in this last column? Cancels out too. So I'm left with that. That, then, has to be multiplied by x minus 4. You try that one, see what you get. I get x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x plus 16. Yes? Okay. Good stuff. As I said earlier in class, the week's 11 homework, which is this week's homework, will be the chapter review or the unit review homework also.